You won't believe what just happened in Washington. And I mean that literally because what I'm about to tell you is so outrageous, so fundamentally dishonest, that even seasoned political watchers are doing double takes. The Biden administration just got caught red-handed manipulating unemployment numbers. Again, right before they leave office, they're trying to rewrite history, and the mainstream media is helping them do it. But this isn't just about statistics. This is about you, your family, your paycheck, and whether you can trust anything coming out of Washington anymore. If you care about the truth, if you're tired of being lied to, then stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to expose will change how you see everything that's been happening to our economy for the past 4 years. And before we dive deeper, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're building a community of Americans who refuse to accept the lies anymore. Your support helps us keep fighting for the truth when nobody else will. Here's what they don't want you to know. The Department of Labor just quietly revised down their job creation numbers by a staggering 818,000 jobs. That's not a typo. 818,000 jobs that they claimed existed but never did. Let me put this in perspective for you. That's like saying we created enough jobs to employ the entire population of San Francisco, then quietly admitting months later, oops, never mind, those jobs were imaginary. Think about that for a moment. For months, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris stood at podiums, bragging about their economic record. They pointed to these job numbers as proof their policies were working. The media celebrated it. They called it a Biden boom. Cable news anchors practically did cartwheels over these employment figures. It was all based on lies. But here's where it gets really infuriating. This revision isn't new information that just came to light. The data was there. The signs were there. Economic analysts were raising red flags for months, but the administration chose to hide it until after the election. They chose to let Americans vote based on false information about the state of our economy. You see, this isn't just incompetence. This is deliberate deception. And every family struggling to pay their bills, every young person who can't find work, every small business owner watching their dreams collapse, they all deserve to know the truth. I've been covering politics and legal affairs for over 2 decades, and I've never seen anything this brazen. The audacity of claiming credit for jobs that never existed while real Americans are suffering, while families are choosing between groceries and gas, it's breathtaking. But what makes me even angrier is how the media handled this revelation. Did you see wall-to-wall coverage? Did you see urgent breaking news alerts? Did CNN interrupt their regular programming? Did MSNBC dedicate special coverage? Of course not. They buried it on a Friday afternoon, hoping you'd be too distracted by your weekend plans to notice. This is exactly what they did with Hunter Biden's laptop before the 2020 election. This is what they did with the lab leak theory for 2 years. This is what they did with Biden's cognitive decline until it became impossible to hide. This is what they do every single time the truth threatens their narrative. They ignore it, minimize it, or explain it away. Meanwhile, if this had been a Republican administration, if Trump had been caught inflating job numbers by nearly 1 million positions, it would have been the scandal of the century. There would be congressional hearings starting tomorrow. There would be calls for impeachment. There would be special prosecutors. There would be nonstop coverage for weeks, maybe months. Rachel Maddow would be drawing conspiracy charts on her whiteboard. The View would be having daily meltdowns. Saturday Night Live would be making jokes about it every weekend. The late night hosts would be having a field day. But because it's Joe Biden, because it's the Democrats, they get a pass. The media acts like this is just another boring government revision, like adjusting the census data instead of what it actually is, a massive fraud perpetrated on the American people during an election year. Let me break down what this really means for you and your family. When the government lies about job creation, it affects absolutely everything. It affects Federal Reserve policy decisions. It affects interest rates. It affects your mortgage payments, your credit card rates, your ability to get a loan for your business or your child's education. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet in some government building. These false statistics influenced real policy decisions that impact your daily life. When the Fed thinks the economy is stronger than it really is, they make different choices about interest rates. When Congress thinks unemployment is lower than reality, they make different choices about spending, about legislation, about economic relief programs. Your entire financial reality has been shaped by lies, and they knew it was lies when they were telling them. They knew families were struggling while they were celebrating fake job growth. I keep thinking about all the small business owners who believed the administration's rosy job reports and made expansion decisions based on that false optimism. How many restaurants opened second locations because they thought the job market was booming? How many contractors hired additional workers because they believed the economy was strong? How many entrepreneurs took on massive debt because they trusted government statistics showing a thriving economy? How many families relocated across the country for jobs that were supposedly plentiful in their new cities? How many recent college graduates turned down opportunities because they believed they were entering a strong job market with plenty of options? How many people delayed retirement thinking the economy was too good to step away from? These aren't abstract policy discussions we have in Washington think tanks. These are real people whose lives have been fundamentally affected by this deception. And the people responsible for this lie should be held accountable, not given a free pass because they're leaving office. But here's what really gets me, what keeps me up at night thinking about this. This story broke, and within 24 hours, it completely disappeared from the news cycle. No follow-up investigations, no demands for explanations from the labor secretary, no congressional subpoenas, no accountability whatsoever. Compare that to how the media covered Trump's economy for 4 solid years. Every monthly jobs report was dissected line by line. Every statistic was questioned. Every claim was fact-checked in real time. Economic analysts were brought on television to explain why the numbers might be misleading. Opposition researchers were digging into the methodology behind every figure. But when Democrats get caught red-handed manipulating data that affects millions of Americans, suddenly everyone in the media loses interest in investigative journalism. Suddenly, they don't have time for deep dives into government statistics. Suddenly, they're too busy covering other stories to focus on economic deception. This double standard isn't just unfair, it's not just hypocritical, it's dangerous for our democracy. When the media refuses to do their job, when they become activists instead of journalists, when they decide which stories matter based on which party benefits, the entire system of accountability breaks down. And speaking of broken systems, let's talk about what this means for the incoming Trump administration. They're inheriting an economy that's significantly worse than anyone realized outside of Washington insiders. The job market is weaker than reported. The recovery was largely fabricated. The economic challenges facing ordinary Americans are much bigger than the public was told. The incoming team is going to have to spend their first months just figuring out what the real numbers are, what the actual state of the economy looks like when you strip away the political spin and the statistical manipulation. But you know what? I have complete confidence that unlike the current administration, Trump will tell us the truth about what he finds, even when it's painful. He won't try to hide bad news or manipulate statistics to make himself look good. We'll get honest numbers, even when they reveal problems that will take years to fix. That's the difference between real leadership and political theater. Real leaders don't need to lie about their accomplishments because they're actually accomplishing something. They don't need to manipulate data because their policies actually work. Now, I want you to think about this broader pattern we've seen over the past 4 years. We've seen lie after lie after lie from this administration. They told us inflation was transitory, that it would disappear on its own. They told us the border was secure while millions poured across illegally. They told us Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation when they knew it was real. They told us Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, mentally fit for 4 more years, right up until the debate when they couldn't hide it anymore. Every single one of those claims has been proven completely false. And now we can add fake job numbers to that growing list of deceptions. At what point do we stop pretending this is just normal politics, just typical Washington spin, and start calling it what it really is? Systematic, deliberate deception of the American people? The American people deserve so much better than this. They deserve leaders who tell the truth, even when it's politically uncomfortable. They deserve a media that investigates rather than covers up. They deserve transparency from their government, not manipulation and lies. This job revision scandal should be front-page news in every newspaper in America. It should be leading every evening newscast. Congressional committees should be demanding answers and threatening subpoenas. Government accountability organizations should be calling for investigations. But instead, we get silence. We get a collective shrug from the same media that spent 4 years obsessing over every Trump tweet, every Trump policy, every Trump statement. Now, when faced with actual government deception affecting millions of Americans, they're suddenly uninterested. That's why independent voices matter more than ever. That's why shows like this matter. That's why your engagement, your shares, your comments matter so much. Because when the mainstream media fails to do their job, when they become complicit in government deception, it's up to us to make sure the truth gets out there. If you found this analysis valuable, if this opened your eyes to something you hadn't realized before, please like this video and share it with everyone you know. Share it on social media, send it to your family members, forward it to your coworkers. The more people who understand what really happened with these job numbers, the harder it becomes for politicians to get away with this kind of deception in the future. And remember, this isn't just about holding the Biden administration accountable for their past lies, although they absolutely should be held accountable. This is about setting a standard for the future. This is about demanding honesty from our leaders and accuracy from our media. This is about making sure that no administration, Republican or Democrat, ever again thinks they can lie to the American people about something as fundamental as job creation and economic health. The truth matters more than politics. Your financial security matters more than anyone's political career. Your family's future matters more than any politician's legacy. That's why we can't let this slide. That's why we can't accept the media's silence. That's why we have to keep demanding answers, keep seeking truth, keep holding our leaders accountable no matter which party they belong to. The truth matters. Your voice matters. And together, we can make sure that Americans get the honest information they deserve about their economy, their government, and their future. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and never, ever stop demanding the truth from the people who work for you.